What's up, and welcome to After Our... What's up, everybody? Welcome to After Hours with John Marks. We're live on YouTube. Please subscribe to us at 97.5 The Fanatic. Like, subscribe. We're trying to get our subscribers up there. We're putting out some great digital content on YouTube. So make sure you're subscribing. And also my personal YouTube, social media, Twitter, Instagram, etc. at John, JONMARKS Media, at John Marks Media. I normally have it in the screen here, but I forgot to put it up there. Here we go. Ready? Boom. At John Marks Media. And of course, you should be listening to my show. As always, I'm live 10 to 2 every day on 97.5 The Fanatic, Marks in the middays. Let's see if I can get the scroll. Yep, there it is. Listen to Middays of the Marks, 97.5 The Fanatic, 10 p.m., 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. All right. Phillies signed Kyle Schwarber. We kind of did an emergency YouTube show after they signed Kyle Schwarber. Now, what is next? JT Realmuto, according to a lot of the insiders out there, including Todd Zalecki, offer on the table for JT. What will the Phillies do? What will JT do, actually? Other teams are involved. The Red Sox are prominently mentioned in JT. Some other contending teams I've seen. I do expect JT Realmuto to be back 2 years. Possibly 3 years. Could it be 3 years? It could definitely be 3 years. But 2 years and like $30 million makes a lot of sense. $15 million a year, maybe a little north of that. Maybe a third year, a vesting option for a third year. We know this about Kyle Schwarber. The Phillies were trying to give him a 4 with a 5th option. And then when the Orioles came along and gave him the 5th, then the Phillies had to match it. So the Mets were involved in that. We learned later on after I did my last YouTube show, after they signed Schwarber, and they did something interesting. They said, hey, we'll give you 3 years and we'll give you $40 million a year, according to reports. Wasn't enough to get it done, but they were willing to go more on a shorter-term contract. They thought maybe Schwarber would say, you know what, I'll go 3 years, and then I'll go back and I'm a free agent in 3 years, but not enough to make him go from Philly to the Mets, which is like you're leaving the Phillies, and every time you play the Phillies, we're going to boo you because you actively decided you were not going to go to Philadelphia. You were going to go to New York. John Middleton was pretty much matching any offer that was outside of maybe a 7 or an 8 year contract. If the Reds really wanted Kyle Schwarber, the Reds could have had Kyle Schwarber. You got to overpay. Making him an offer that he's likely to refuse, what's the point? They need him. They need him to sell tickets. They need him to create some buzz. Not even matching the offer, the best offer that was given to Kyle Schwarber before the Phillies matched it. Shows you everything you need to know about the Cincinnati Reds. All right, so what's next? If JT's resigning, what's next and how much money is left? So according to a lot of the experts out there, I saw that would put the Phillies payroll at about $285 million. So with other salaries and things like that, you'd have about $15 million, I think, to sign your other players. And if they sign JT for the money they're going to re-sign JT for, is $15 million enough to take care of the rest of your holes? It's really not. So what do? You're going to have to be creative. You're going to have to make some trades. Because if you look at the outfield right now, let's take a look at the outfield. Right now, Marsh, Crawford, and Weston Wilson are your outfielders. They're your 3 outfielders. I know Castellanos is under contract, and people are going to say, well, you still have Castellanos. The Phillies are openly saying that he's going somewhere else. So if they can't trade him, they're going to release him. He will not be a Philly this year, at least according to everything that you see. No, that's a weak outfield. Marsh really is a left fielder. He can play center some of the time. Crawford, we haven't seen him. I haven't seen him play defense. He's been in AAA. The Phillies are seemingly pumping him up to he can play center field. So if they don't sign another center fielder, he's going to be your center fielder. And then from them, it's Weston Wilson. So they need an outfielder. They know it. They probably need 2 outfielders. So it could be a Harrison Bader resigning, maybe 3 years. I'd be reluctant to give him a third year. Bader was great in his 2 months here in Philadelphia. But if you look at the back of the baseball card, that's not him. Him being injured, going into the playoffs and in the playoffs, that's Harrison Bader. Injury history. He's a good player. He plays good defense in center field. But if he's your one move as an outfielder, now you have an outfield of Bader in center, Crawford in left, Marsh, a combination of Marsh in right. Or, I mean, That's just not good enough. Weston Wilson, that's not good enough. So you're going to need another outfielder. Here's what I'm pitching. And Otto Kemp in that situation would be an outfielder if you don't move Alec Bohm. I think the best chance of what happens is they have to move some salary out and they can actually get some things in return. So to finish off the roster, you trade Alec Bohm. You're not getting an unbelievable return, but he makes 10.2, or he's scheduled to make around $10.2 million this year. And you trade him maybe for that fourth outfielder we're talking about, maybe for a bullpen arm, something like that, where you're not getting nothing, but you're getting something where it's like, all right, like he's a nice piece. You're not getting a starting third baseman like Alec Bohm. So like this actually you should be able to get decent value for Alec Bohm. You're just not getting what they were asking for last offseason, which was a front end starting pitching, a young starting pitcher or something like that. So Bohm should fetch you something. And now you can take that $10 million and you can use that to sign an outfielder. Also, Matt Strahm. You have 3 left-handed relievers in the bullpen with Strahm. Final year of the contract, he's making $7.5 million, and Strahm is very good. I'm a fan. He was a great signing for the Phillies. He's done very well since being acquired. You have Tanner Banks, who's not making any money, and you have Jose Alvarado, who throws heat, and they just re-signed him, or the option was picked up. So, that would be 3 lefties if Matt Strahm came back. I do not believe they will, or they need 3 lefties in the bullpen. Now, if you didn't have this payroll crunch, you keep Strahm. You don't need to trade him, but being that you have 2 left-handed relievers right now, it does make sense to trade him. He'd be a valuable piece. We're talking about maybe you get a right-handed reliever in return. Maybe you get this outfielder that we're talking about. Maybe you get a third baseman that can be part of your answer at third base when you move on from Bohm. But that's going to save you nearly $18 million that you're able to now combine that with the $10 or so million that you have to go out and get an outfielder. Cody Bellinger's been mentioned. There are some trade options as well that are out there on the market. But any type of a big bat outfielder that's not making a lot of money or has great value, you're going to have to trade one of your top prospects. They're not trading Andrew Painter. They're not trading Aiden Miller. Some of the other guys could be moved, but I don't know if you're going to be able to get a top-end outfielder for any of the other names that are out there. Aiden Miller, one of the Phillies' top prospects, the top position prospect. A lot of people have said, well, just make him the third baseman, especially if you move on from Bohm. Not a wise idea, and I do not believe the Phillies would do that. He's never played third base before. He's coming up as a shortstop. Maybe you start him in AAA and you test him out at third base to get him some experience. And if the bat is hot at AAA, he's only 21. If he's hitting the cover off the ball in AAA and you're having some struggles at third base at the major league level, maybe you could bring him up later on in the season. But my expectations of Aiden Miller in 2026 is he's spending the year at AAA. Maybe towards the end of the year, he's a call-up. He's got excellent speed. He does have good raw power that he didn't display last year. So Miller could be one of your answers at third base in following years. But for next year, to start the season, Otto Kemp, Mundo Sosa are your third base. And then the rest of the infield, you have Trey Turner, Bryson Stott, Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber as your DH. But then you're trying to see if Stott or you're trying to see if Kemp and Sosa are good enough. And if they're not good enough, then you have the trade deadline, and that's where Dave Dombrowski goes out, and he tries to find a veteran where he can improve the position. Otto Kemp now can play some left field, some third base. Really depends on what happens during the season. It's not uncommon that teams go into the season with a hole, and they hope it works itself out on its own, or they're able to figure it out during the season with maybe a minor league guy or some type of a one-year contract, or you have to make a move at the trade deadline. Last year with the closer, they were hoping Romano was going to be the closer. He wasn't. So what did they have to do? They went out and they got to around at the trade deadline. And bam, now you don't have to worry about the back end of that bullpen. Probably would add another arm in the bullpen outside of Strahm. So maybe you're swapping Strahm for a right-handed reliever. But I think that's the best case scenario what happens. And that would give you an outfield's still a problem. Now, you're either going to be short in the infield at third base where you're unsure about your third base between Sosa and Kemp, or you're going to be short in the outfield because you can't go into the season with Marsh, Crawford, and Weston Wilson. If you have Bader, all right, now you know at least you have your starting center fielder, but that is a weak outfield. And if Kemp is a part of that outfield rotation, he's a platoon, a right-handed platoon bat that's going to try to play left field, which I don't necessarily think is a great thing. And that's going to be your team in 2026. I wouldn't expect many more, maybe a Cody Bellinger, but then he's a left-handed bat. You really need a right-handed bat, but you are going to have some money to where if you go out, you're going to be able to sign somebody that's making good money, or you can make a trade and maybe you're not having to give up as much because you're acquiring somebody that makes a lot of money. And teams are looking to move on from because like with Strom and with Bohm, Bohm's not a horrible player. If I needed a third baseman that didn't cost a lot of money and he's a free agent, and I'm not giving up a lot, yeah, I would trade for Alec Bohm. Same thing with Matt Strom. If I needed a seventh inning guy that has experience and has pitched in big spots, I like Matt Strom a lot. He's a good relief pitcher. I'd be willing to give up something for that. So I think that's how it's going to play out. And Rob Thompson addressed this when he spoke after they announced his 1-year contract extension, and he was talking about Schwarber. He said for everybody that is doesn't want the Phillies to run it back. Well, we're not really running it back because, as you see, there is going to be some change. But really, when you look at this team, we're talking about Turner, Harper, the main cogs of this team. Kyle Schwarber. So I don't know. They're not moving on from Turner. They're not moving on from Harper. They could have traded Bryson Stott. I just don't know what kind of value he has out there. I like Stott at the bottom of the order. So the guys that you have, the big free agents that you have, are more or less the players that you're going to be going forward with. And is that going to be enough? Doesn't feel like it, but their starting pitching's good. Their bullpen's good. Starting pitching's very good, actually. And we'll see if Nola can bounce back this year. But that's kind of the post Kyle Schwarber discussion for the Philadelphia Phillies. Let's see if there's anybody out here with some comments or anything like that. Landing spot for Casty. It doesn't matter because he's leaving. And if they don't trade him, they're going to release him. The way they're talking is there's a 0% chance that Nick Castellanos is with the Phillies that we're and somebody's asking, is this a Rofo shirt? This is a Rofo sweatshirt. Rofo stands for Royers Ford. That's right. All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Remember, make sure you're liking and subscribing. Get to 97.5 The Fanatic, our YouTube page, and smash that subscribe button. We have a ton of great digital content out there. So jump on board with it. Subscribe, like, comment, and you can see at the bottom of my screen. Make sure you're following me on all platforms right there at John, Jon Marks, Marks Media. At John Marks Media. And make sure you're listening live every Monday through Friday for Middays with Marks from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on 97.5 The Fanatic. We'll talk to you. See ya.